That. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm back. Here I am trying to get a little bit of juice so my phone don't die. It shuts me off. It's fine. I'm actually going to. Did I do the double zeros? I don't think I did the quadruple zeros. I did not for the intro. So, fun fact: if you put timestamps in the description box of your video, if you record videos and you start with 00 intro, or like you start with 00, you do the timestamp and then the title, it'll put them like build them into the video. It's so cool. I love it, honestly. I wish that they worked if you watch YouTube through, like, I have an app on my TV. Excuse me. I wish they also worked there, but they don't. That's the only like inconvenient part. But so, because I'm probably gonna delete this, I'll just delete it right now. I'll just delete it right now, girl, because why have like 15 different versions of the same video on the internet? I didn't even title that one. Okay. So to get to the point. So I'm gonna be looking at crosses. Oh, I'm excited to see what she sent me. I had a really, 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 really good conversation with my friend's girlfriend, who was like one of my new best friends. I don't know if she knows it yet. And she sent me something, so I'm excited to see what it is later after this. Anyway, so I'm gonna be looking at it's an April Fool spread, right? So the Fool is an energy of newness. I'm going to be looking at the Sabian symbols of 21 to 22 degrees of Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius, focusing on Pisces because that's where Neptune is. I don't know why Neptune is the star today. Hopefully, I can finish this one. Um, and then I'm using the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations to pull an angel. I'm going to clarify, or I'm going to see what the cohort or the angels associated with it is in the Angelarium Year 2 collection. And then from there, I'm going to get into it's like the challenge, the edge, and the dog in the Weaver Tarot Journeyman and Ascendant editions to see not necessarily to see two different aspects of the energy. They may not necessarily be opposing. It may not necessarily be light and dark. I don't know what it is yet. Um, Now, the thing about the dog, though, is there is an element of loyalty, but in a lot of decks, it's like the dog is discouraging the fool from taking the leap. And so it can kind of sort of come in through an energy of like an established pattern. Oh, that's where that tower energy comes in a little bit. And then I'm gonna leave the card face down after the Fool to see sort of an energy that awaits us. You take it as it resonates as always, right? And last time I actually didn't even timestamp before I started to do all that Sabian symbol stuff. So maybe that's also a sign for me to get with the program that I literally created for myself. So also, it's I need to do some things that I know I need to do, but we're doing it today because it's already. I was supposed to do it before April, but it's fine. It just didn't happen. It's cool. Time is fluid and mobile. There are things that can come whenever. So, girl, what time is it, Patrick? Let's see. I'm gonna say this is about 4 minutes, and we're gonna see what this Zodiac Sabian symbol what the Sabian symbol cross is for 21 to 22 degrees of mutable signs. So it's I was also reading the wrong ones because that was 20 to 21 degrees. We're in 21 to 22. That's why Neptune shut me down. Okay. All right. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Uh. Oh. Oh, I gotta take a sip of blackberry. This is not sponsored, obviously, um, because the energy that Neptune is sitting on right now, that's a whole 2 liter. So Gemini is a barn dance. Virgo is a royal coat of arms. Sagittarius is a Chinese laundry. Pisces is a man bringing down the new law from Sinai. So we got a barn dance, we got a coat of arms, we got a laundry, and then we basically got Moses coming down off of the mountain with 10 commandments. And it's interesting because the angel of the mountain made an appearance yesterday because it was a doubled up card. There's two different versions, at least in this deck. And it also came out at the same time the Angel of Dreams did. Neptune is sitting in the energy of a man bringing down the new law from Sinai. And it's Neptune. It's not Saturn. It's not Mercury. It's not even like maybe Uranus. It's Neptune. Maybe one of the hardest planets to understand is the one bringing new laws. And new law is interesting because it carries an energy of something that is not to be violated. And if it is, it's punishable by law. But it's coming from a planet with an energy that sometimes we can barely even like comprehend. It reminds me of Mao. I don't know if you've ever played the game Mao, but in the game of Mao, it's like it's a card based game. It's a card game. You use a deck of playing cards, and there are a set of rules that no one is told. But when you break a rule, you get punished by having to draw a card or something. Excuse me, I only played it a handful of times. I think you have to draw a card if you break one of the rules, and like whoever runs out of cards first wins. But you're not told the rules. You're only told the name of the rule and that you broke it. And so the object of the game is to like figure out what the rules are while simultaneously trying to get all of the cards out of your hand. But again, you're not told the rules. And every time someone wins a round, they get to make a new rule. Again, they don't have to tell people what the rule is. But when others break that rule, they have to draw a card. That's the energy that Neptune is kind of sort of sitting in right now. Everlong, Eve. Hey, how you doing? Hi. Might need something stronger than ginger ale, right? I know. Especially for Neptune. I'm like, when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh. So Neptune's playing a game of Mal with us. The rules are changing. We don't know what they are. That's it. But let's read. I'm extremely interested. This is also, if you're curious, it is Crosses of the Sabian Symbols, Loosen the. Can I get the title, please? Girl, can I get it here? Can I get it here? It's by Beck Louis. Loosen the energy of your astrology, something, something. It was like $2 on. Yeah, glad to see you here. I'm not the best at interacting. Just throwing that out there. I got it on iBooks or whatever for like $2. So I'm so just like Neptune. What are you doing? This is interesting. Maybe because Neptune communicates in dreams, and you can communicate things in dreams in a way that you can't communicate them necessarily in person. Because dreams aren't. And I was just talking about this with my new best friend. Because she was like, I have all these. Because I was telling her about sometimes I realize that I'm dreaming in dreams, and she was like, that's crazy because like all of this wild stuff happens, and I'm never like I'm dreaming. I'm like, yeah, like a bunch of crazy things happens in dreams, and in the dream you just accept it as reality, even though it's completely different from your waking reality. And so there is a little bit of a different language or a different medium of communication. And so through that, it carries almost a high priestess energy because we don't consciously have the tools to decode or understand what the message is. But subconsciously, we can kind of sort of get it through a stream of events, images, songs, words, numbers, dreams, whatever, right? Okay, girl. April Fools. Let's go. So, Gemini. Oh, I already said it. So, Virgo's coat of arms is an arrangement of bearings on a shield depicting ancestry and distinctions. Gemini's barn dance is the metaphor for an inclusive society with opportunities to distinguish ourselves, Virgo, or earn a living at a certain station in the social order, Sagittarius, with the Chinese laundry. All governed by established laws, Pisces, for everyone to get along and society to function, Gemini. The masses mixing together for fun, Gemini, contrasts with distinguished families, Virgo. Economics, Sagittarius, and legal structures, Pisces, organize society. Cultural connotations of Chinese laundry derive from the issue of immigration in America in the late 19th century, also the time when the phrase barn dance was coined, which meant that white Protestants were more welcome than white Catholics, who were generally more welcome than white Jews, who were more welcome than Asians, who were more welcome than Africans. The laundries the laundries were not great places to work. And the reason they were so much associated with the Chinese was that Chinese people often had difficulties getting other work. When the economy suffered during the Great Depression, laundry work became more desirable to a larger number of people. For this reason, what was once a target of scorn became also a target of jealousy, as a whole category of jobs seemed to only be going to a particular ethnic group. And that's credited to John Hanna 2014. I don't have the full citation, sorry. Girl, I don't know how to pronounce this. Gemini is hoi poly, poloi. Hey Siri, define HOIPOLLOI.
Okay, I found this on the web for defined hoi polloi.
The many.
Check it out.
Yeah, in Greek, hoi polloi means simply the many. Okay. I love Siri. Gemini is hoi polloi, enjoying social time, barn dance, contrasts with separate from less welcome members, Sagittarius. Pisces' symbol recalls the story of Moses visiting God at the top of Mount Sinai and bringing down the Ten Commandments. They were to worship only God, to honor your parents in the Sabbath, to never worship images or idols or false deities, to never blaspheme, murder, steal, lie, covet, or commit adultery. Pisces' new laws tries to clean up society, and laws are a societal contract. In this context, Virgo's shadow side is that the coat of arms is worshipped as an image. Ooh. Resonant with Pisces' law, Chinese laundries in the 19th century were also associated with illegal activity, which, while true, was also an unfair, which was also as unfair, maybe, as white people also conducted themselves illegally, Gemini, connected to laundries. The Chinese were convenient scapegoats and were the target of immigration law, Pisces, while whites thought themselves nobler than they were, Virgo. In Elsie Wheeler's life, the Chinese laundry was stigmatized, but there was also societal attraction to the wealth that the work accumulated, Virgo, held by one specific group, which immigration law, Pisces, tried to subvert for the Chinese to make the opportunity, Sagittarius, equally available to others, Gemini. Overall, the cross describes how society organizes itself. Okay, so that was a whole bunch of not what I was expecting, but also applicable in a lot of ways. Society is reorganizing or attempting to reorganize itself all over the world. We see people all over the world rising up are standing against their government, saying that we're not going to put up with this anymore. We're not going to tolerate this anymore. And then, a lot of the governments are turning violently against the people. Um, Girl, that was a lot. That was a lot. I think so far that's been the most historical and just like cross that I've come across. But with Neptune there, it's almost it's almost like trying, and it's the full spread, right? So this is us doing something completely new. This is us again with that dog. It's a convention that we've developed. It's a pattern or a habit that we formed. That's the loyalty to it. But the dog is trying to discourage us from doing something new. And it's almost like Neptune is taking advantage of the chaos going on right now to try to get us to realize dreams of like world peace and ending world hunger, to get us to realize dreams of more globally impacted humanitarian efforts, maybe bolstered by all of the Aquarian energy that we're coming into, and also Uranus being in Taurus in a position to change up literally Earth. With Pluto in Capricorn, it also changes organizations and structures and things like that. And then also at the same time, it's like it's trying to make a lot of the nightmares of the societies and realities that we have now like a distant memory, to the point where it's like a bad dream. Or like, did that actually happen? Like, was that a dream or did that actually happen? I don't know if like y'all get those, but sometimes I'm like, wait, was that a dream or did that happen in real life? So Neptune is acting, at least in this context, kind of nobly, but we'll see. Because it's interesting that, and that's been a lot of history too. Specifically, like physically in the United States with the Native Americans and how we displaced them several times over because eventually we wanted the land that we gave to them. It's like, oh, we want it now, so you're going to have to go again. Mm. My mama is pulling an April Fool's joke on my little bro, on my youngest brother right now. Oh gosh. She's like, I wonder if he'll fall for it. Okay. All right, Neptune. Mercury just conjuncted Neptune. They probably conjuncted. It might have actually been 20 degrees, but Neptune is only, or Mercury is only like 24 degrees. So Mercury may have also been there. Mercury being there, Mercury working with Neptune. It's actually just like when Mercury was working with Pluto and Jupiter and Saturn when everything was in Capricorn. Mercury is so fast, it's the messenger of the gods. It's able to communicate something as the sun is traveling, also as Venus is traveling. And so it's like Neptune was filling Mercury in on this plan. Mercury also has the ability to communicate things a little more coherently than Neptune can. And again, as the sun travels through every single degree in a year, Mercury does the same. Well, Mercury hits some of them several times because it retrogrades 3 times in a year. And so some of the things that it retrogrades on gets hit 3 times, right? Depending. Once before the retrograde, during the retrograde, and then after the retrograde. And so there may be a new path opening. A new realm of potential is brewing, but it's very like misty. It's very like pink and purple, glittery, not necessarily defined. And I feel like because it is Neptune, because it is so undefined, it actually requires a little bit more participation. Like when it was happening with Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter, those are energies that kind of sort of like impact us in ways beyond our ability to control, but also in ways that we can pretty much sort of like see, right? When it comes to Neptune, it's easier to like get lost in translation. Mercury has too much too much presence in your chart Mercury in my chart is in Pisces, and it's retrograde, and it's in the 12th house. So Mercury in my chart is just not happy with the sign, not happy with the house, and not happy that it's retrograde. And I think it also trines my Pluto in Capricorn. And maybe my part of fortune in Cancer. Oh no, it trines my fourth house cusp, my IC in Cancer. Whew. So people just, a lot of times, people will look at me like I'm dumb or like I don't understand. And it's like, honestly, it's like sometimes I get it. I just can't find the words. It's fine. Okay, so the angel and got a timestamp. I almost forgot. I actually don't need these to timestamp. Also, my right eye was dilated today, so it shouldn't matter too much. I'm going to call this 2052. But what's up with Mercury in your chart, Eve, Everlong Mystic? What did I say? I literally forgot what I just said. That's Mercury in my chart in action. 2110. I was like, I literally just forgot. Like, I'll say something to somebody, and then they're like, oh, say that again. And I was like, I already forgot what I just said. I'm sorry. So the big angel here. Who is taking charge? Oh no, that's Sandalphon. Sandalphon and Gabriel. Angel of new life and the angel of heralds at the cut. Heralding in new life. I like that. Okay. So who's in charge here? What's going on? Oh. Ooh. It came out face down. I'm gonna honor that. And it came out like very like sharply. Virgo sun, also Virgo and Mercury. Oh. So the only Mercury in my chart, I don't have any Virgo in my chart. My Mercury is in a position that it doesn't like, it's severely sort of impacted in its ability to perform, I guess. And then my South Node is in Gemini and Virgo is empty. Like, I have energies in like everything but Virgo. Unless I look at sidereal astrology, then my Jupiter is in Virgo. But in sidereal, I'm in Aquarius. So Jupiter doesn't have the power that it has in my Western chart as one of my sign rulers. Anyway, like, I wish I had more Mercury. Your Mars is also in Virgo. So you got Virgo, Sun, Mercury, and Mars. I feel like that's, what is this? I'll take it, but I don't know what this is. Is that it? Nah. I wish I had more. I feel like with all of that in Virgo, it would put you maybe in a position where you're better able to maybe understand and articulate sort of like the things that make you upset. And then when it comes to accomplishing something, with Mars being drive, I feel like having the sun in Virgo there maybe like would put you in a position to be able to like see the steps to get what you want. And so it kind of sort of has a demystifying energy in a lot of ways. Whereas Mars in another placement, or even Mercury in another placement, can sort of leave these like gaps and these chasms that we may not necessarily know how to cross. But I don't know if it works like that. I'm not an astrologer. I just like astrology. I used to like it a lot more. Okay. Who is this? Kakabiel? I'll take you. All right, last one. Oh, okay. Oh, see, no, I ain't doing all that. Oh, oh gosh. Sario, angel of the waning moon again. Sukloth, angel of verdancy. Hanael, angel of Capricorn. So this card, Muriel, angel of Cancer. Muriel, angel of Cancer was at the bottom of the deck before I started shuffling. And I almost read it, but I didn't. But then, like, all of these cards fell out on the table after she shot over there, on top of everything else. The two cards that came out closest together, it's Sandalphon and Ananiel, Angel of New Life, and the Angel of Storms. That's a blue lunar storm energy. Storms bring, you can be super methodical. Yeah. I feel like if you have too much Virgo, though, it may sort of tend to maybe overanalyzing, overthinking, a little micromanaging, a little like trying to account for things that maybe are subjected to a little bit more randomness, or things that we just humanly can't account for. So I can see that being like too much Virgo when it may not necessarily same. It may not necessarily it may be too much, but like learning it in moderation is an excellent strength, and it's one that I wish I had more of, honestly. But Sandalphon and Anani, oh gosh, girl, I can't keep these. Please, like, I'm not trying. I just got these. I'm not trying to lose anything. Angel of Storms and the Angel of New Life. It's that tower energy. To me, it speaks of what came out yesterday, in accepting seasons, accepting cycles, welcoming the moment for everything, letting go of a lack, or letting go of a need for things to be so continuous that you keep yourselves almost bound to the same thing, where we don't allow ourselves to get any real distance. And with this being the April Fool, April showers bring May flowers. Matariel, Angel of Rain, was featured heavily yesterday. There are things that maybe aren't so pleasant that happen to us, but we can use those as opportunities for growth. And with that Fool energy, again, it's about basically cutting ties with the old and being in a position to welcome in and to accept the new. So before the Angel of New Life came out with, I forget the other angel, but now it's with the Angel of Storms. Storms have a purpose. And it's like the longer nature goes without whatever it needs from, the longer nature goes without whatever it needs from the storm, the more severe the storm is going to be when it finally hits. And that's making towers more towering. We have Gabriel, the Golden Herald, Semyaza, Angel of Pride, Zuriel, Angel of Libra, Aziraphale, Angel of Song, Hazakiel, Angel of Mists, Azazel, Angel of Sacrifices, and Verkiel, Angel of Leo. They all were on the table. I guess I'll read Gabriel. This Golden Herald embodies those transmissions which are most important. Words, sounds, and pictures that carry a huge impact. Sometimes the results are glorious, and sometimes they are terrible. Either way, there is no way to hold them back. When the herald lifts its lantern, everyone will see it. There's no escaping it. Here's the Golden Herald with those pictures, images, and sounds that Neptune likes to communicate through, especially in dreams when they sort of stitch all together and they have a sort of life of their own. I'm gonna keep Hanaya. No, I'm actually not. South Node. Oh, actually, yeah, I will. Because Hanael, Angel of Capricorn, is at the bottom of the deck. The previous South Node cycle was in Capricorn. And then Muriel, Angel of Cancer, is right here. Previous North Node was in Cancer. So we've already shifted out of that axis. And we're in a position of we're about to shift again into North Node Scorpio, North Node Taurus, South Node Scorpio. So, Sandalphon, upon fertile ground, life stirs in stars. Called from the shores, our children call home. The beginning of a new life, farewell to the old one. Ananiel, Angel of Storms, this season brings many things, fair tidings and fairer weather. A bold and brilliant sky shining in golden hue, these destined days without end. Look to the horizon, my sons, see for yourself. Its glory becomes us. And then we have the Golden Herald. Okay. All right. So everything is actually face down, which is fine. That just means I'm going to go through and I'm going to put these back in their boxes for now so I don't get confused. So actually, this is where the timestamps are going to end until the wrap up, because I'm going to do the angels and the cards at the same time. or with less of a separation between them. And so I'm going to do like, I guess the light will be the more conscious influence. The dark will be the less conscious, the more subconscious, the more subtle influence. Since again, we're dealing with the Neptune energy. Like the lighter one may be like how we see it, but the darker one will be a certain truth that it carries to it. And that's an interesting thing about being human and living as well, especially when we're dealing with spiritual elements. It's that the intention of spirit may be lost through translation, or what an energy had the potential to be could be lost because of how we utilize it. And because of how we utilize it, or because of our experience with it, we form an opinion on an energy. And when a large enough collective holds an opinion, holds an image of an energy, it can actually shift what that energy is. So now when you tap into that energy, you're tapping into what it's become rather than what it was intended to be. Also, it depends on some other factors as well. And that's why like energy doesn't have a language. It's not about the words, it's about intentions. Because I mean, there are words and languages that now mean things that they didn't even mean in the past. So what good is a word when it comes to establishing anything? Words are subjected to the changing of society, going back to the barn dance, to Gemini's barn dance, right? Girl, what is this? All right, let's get into it. We'll start with the Ascendant edition first. So I'm going to give it a few shuffles. And then from the bottom of the deck, I'm going to keep going until I find the Fool. Oh, this would have been really good to use. I'll grab it. This would be really good to use the SKT because the SKT has 3 Fools. And so this is actually what I'm going to do. So I'm going to. Oh, gosh. So I'm going to start with the SKT. The SKT also has angels, so ties it in. That's why tarot should involve intuition, not just standard definition of cards. The meanings change. I agree, and I guess I can see both sides, but to me, I guess that's intuition. Because I feel like your intuition, in some ways, could tell you like when to follow a more traditional meaning, or when to sort of like read further into it. But yeah, for a lot of parts, I agree. Ooh, girl. Oh, there's the Fool. So it's the Devil, the title card, and the Fool. All right there. Oops, now the Devil's on the floor. Get riddance. Nah, I could just leave you down there. I'm just playing. So that's at the bottom of the deck. Before I even shuffled, it was already there. Oh. So this is what I'm going to do instead. The Spirit Keeper's Tarot has 3 Fools. It has the Initiate, which is the fresh Fool. Oh my gosh, this is my first time down here. How does it work? We have the Seeker, who's like, okay, I've been down here a few times. I get how things go, but there are some things that I still don't understand. There are some things that are a little counterintuitive, and I don't really get it. And then there's the Seeker, or the Keeper, who basically the High Priestess and the Magician. And the High Priest, or the Keeper, is all of the majors. It's the Fool that goes from the Magician to the world, and it incorporates what it needs to at every single step. So I'm going to use the SKT. I'm going to pull from the bottom. I'll do. This is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go through the SKT. I'll pull around the Initiate, the Seeker, and the Keeper. Around the Initiate, I'm going to use these. The more conscious, but it's a little easier to understand. For the Seeker, it's going to be a mix of both of these. And then for the keeper, it's going to be purely these, the more subconscious influence. And then I'll flip over the angels and we'll read all of this, I guess. Let's do it. Yeah, why not? Watch Archangel of Mysteries pop out. Archangel of Mysteries, High Priestess. I'm like, okay. All right. Am I going to do these all at once? Yes, I am. Okay. And it's going to be the card under it. The card under the significator in this deck is going to be the card that I look for in the other decks. All right. Let's do this. All right. Hierophant and the Nine of Pentacles were just at the cut. We've gone as far as we could go with old Hierophant energy. Who was this? Who is this? So 3 cards just fell on the table. The Haunt, Nine of Swords, the Warrior, the Sun, and the Wheel of Life, the Wheel of Fortune. I feel like it feels like this energy. Like this. Where sometimes we tilt more towards the Warrior, sometimes we tilt more towards the Haunt. Also, in this energy, Russell, from Rustling Around, I think it was his Mars and Gemini video. And Mars in the Zodiac, Mars through the Zodiac carried an energy. It was a story like this. Mars in Aries is like super gung-ho. It does a lot of stuff. It's immature. It acts on what it wants in that moment. Mars in Taurus is when like someone else sees the nature of Aries or of Mars. Someone else sees the nature of Mars and they get Mars to do their bidding, basically. Enter the energy of a shadowy Hierophant and crusades and all kinds of things, right? Mars in Gemini is when something happens on the battlefield one day and Mars is like, wait, like, am I actually wrong here? Like, is what they told me to do in Taurus not actually what I should be doing? So it's when Mars begins to question itself and question its actions and question for the first time whether or not it should do the things that it wants, or at least like how it should go about doing it. Mars in Cancer, while it's not this card, it's actually Mars in Gemini. Mars in Gemini is the Nine of Swords. Oh my gosh, perfect. That's what I just said. I didn't even know that was the case, but I was like, yeah. Mars in Gemini, it's the first time Mars is like, wait, like, what if I'm actually the villain here? What if I'm actually the bad guy? When it was in Taurus, like, I thought I was the hero. Mars in Cancer is where the grief sets in. Between Gemini and Cancer, there could be a little PTSD, honestly. Trigger warning. Because like the realization fully sets in Cancer. And also in Cancer with the home, with the heart, with that connection to water and spirit, it's beginning to understand fully what it's done. Mars in Leo is when Mars decides to do something, basically to right its wrongs, to atone, or to do better. Maybe not necessarily even the energy of atonement, but it decides to use its abilities to do something that makes the world brighter. It's Leo, right? It comes from the heart, it's communal. Mars in Virgo actually is like Mars gets that input from Mercury, where it's like, okay, like if you want to make an impact, if you want to do something, like this is what you do. Mars in Libra, now we exit the personal houses. That's when it's out there and it's doing it. It's doing things to create balance, to equalize, bring justice, to harmonize, things of that nature, right? Mars in Scorpio, counter to Mars in Taurus, is when Mars really begins to see it's like when Mars begins to notice things about the Hierophant energy. And also it begins to notice things about itself, right? Because before Mars was in Libra, before Mars was in Virgo, before Mars was actually doing things to better, to like not just further its own interests. Like it didn't have the capability, it didn't have the experience of interacting with the others that the Hierophant kind of sort of pitted it against, right? Mars in Libra is doing all that. Mars in Scorpio is starting to go through the transformation of like, wow, like, so I was really lied to when I was in Taurus. Now, Mars and Scorpio in that vein can get a little dangerous if, depending on like how severely it turns against like all of that Taurus stuff, right? Because before Mars and Scorpio, Mars was like, wow, like I did that. Like that's something that I didn't see. But when Mars is in Scorpio, and especially when Mars goes into Sagittarius, especially when it's in Sagittarius, Mars in Sagittarius is like, no, like I was like that. It was the programs, it was the structures, it was the laws, it was the systems. I was conditioned to view the world in a certain type of way. I was conditioned to believe that I was at the top. Let's go back to Sagittarius, right? The Chinese laundry, and how when everything was good, people were looked down upon, and that's the only jobs that the Chinese could get. But enter the Great Depression, and now it's one of the few things that's still up and moving. Now that specific community is starting to accumulate some money because like but that's what they were subjected to. And it's like now that this is like profitable, now that this is something more desirable, it's unfair that we're here. But this is what you relegated us to. Anyway, Mars in Sagittarius begins to see the larger picture. Mars in Capricorn is like, okay, so everything I was doing in Libra to like do like more one-on-one, like a little bit smaller, like, okay, like we're gonna take it like to the next level. We're gonna change the system. Scorpio, Sagittarius, we see it, they're gonna change. Capricorn into Aquarius. Capricorn is the foundation. It's the like the buildings to do it. It's the tactile, physical, tangible resources. Mars in Aquarius is like, that's when the actual like humanitarian comes in. And then Mars in Pisces is like, I guess that's what Neptune's trying to bring us to. Those are the new laws that come down. And now society is like better. It's at least a lot better than that previous like Mars and Taurus thing that like we were fresh out of Mars and Aries, only concerned about ourselves. And so very easy to convince that the best way for us to get what we want is to work against other people. Anyway, I feel like that is this. That's Mars's journey. Like, and then this is us coming into the ability to recognize how we can use our power instead of being in this position of like powerlessness. And with the will of life coming like last, like that's the energy of like this is the progression. And this will of life, you see all of the zodiac, like from Aries all the way down Cancer, right? You go through, travel through all of the zodiac. But with it being in the middle, this is the balance. Like sometimes we're the warrior, sometimes we tilt more over to the warrior, sometimes we tilt more over to the hunt. I don't know, girl, where is this going? Bottom of the deck is the Holy Seed. Bottom of the deck is the Hierophant. I told you. The Hierophant in this deck is written as not great. The Hierophant is like, it's time for you to go beyond the systems and it's time for you to discover the divine for yourself. Because man will misguide you, man will misdirect you. Man is inherently flawed and the divine is inherently not. So, how will one fully embody the other? And so, you need to go beyond. Because as long as you listen to the Hierophant, you'll be in that Nine of Swords. And that's why people come back from things with like, going into it, I was told that I would be protecting the country and I was told I would be doing this and I would be doing that. But in reality, like what they had me out there doing, like what I've done to people, it's Nine of Swords and it's not great. Gosh, what is all this? What is all this? Hello? It's fine. I'll just go with it. Oh, look, there's the erudite, which is hermit energy, and the hunt, which is that Virgo. The hunt, which is that overthinking, overanalyzing, micromanaging, right? Potentially. And I guess with the erudite there, Luke's ex Tenebris, you knew Hierophant would show. I wasn't surprised. I was like, girl. Oh, it's still here with the Luke's ex Tenebris, light from darkness. It's like we had to go through that darkness to find our light. Don't get stuck there with the hunt. And it's like, take accountability for what you've done, own up to it, face it, accept it, but also realize that like that you did the best you could with the information you had at the time. You didn't experience enough life. You weren't mature enough to know better, but because you've gone through it, you now do. And then just randomly, what's there? The Seven of Pentacles, the gardener. It's like now it's time to continue cultivating this. It's time to continue growing and expanding that awareness. It's time to learn more. And so you have less Nine of Swords energies later. It is not easy, but it's also not the end. If your life isn't over, you still have time to change things. And that's why we're looking at the Fools today, right? It's like, it's like when somebody tells you, I think I would do it all the time. Maybe not. When somebody tells you to do something on April 1st and you don't want to do it or whatever, it's like, ha, April Fools. Like you thought I was going to do that, but no. It's time to say April Fools to the Hierophant and just be like, no, we're going to take the leap. It's like, sorry, little dog, but I know your master, and your master doesn't have my best intentions at heart. So I'm going to take this leap. Oh, look, the Hangman and the Three of Cups. I feel like outside of that is where you find this. The Hangman is punished because he doesn't follow the laws written by the Hierophant. That's why he's hanging. And then in that scenario, justice is the Hierophant's justice. It's not divine justice. And people, again, with that Mars through Aries and Taurus, people do a whole bunch of stuff based off of Hierophant justice when the divine is like, that that's not right. You have a conscience. Like, you know that you shouldn't be doing this. Anyway, it's all a part of the process. Sorry, little dog, right? Not today, little dog. I don't think so. All right. I'll give it two more. Ooh, that's interesting. Last one, and then I'll cut it, and we're going to go. Two cards just fell out. The Eight of Swords and the Eight of Pentacles. I think I've seen these two together before. Bottom of the deck is the Chancellor. This is the divine justice. It's carrying an energy of the Nine of Pentacles with whatever that other card was. The Nine of Pentacles and the Hierophant? No, it was the Devil and the Mystery card and the Fool. It's like you've gone as far as you can go with whatever. Or maybe it was the Nine of Pentacles and the Hierophant. I don't remember. It's like we've gone as far as we can go with old energies. The world has flourished and it's been as abundant. It's been as good as it can be under those old systems. And it's like we'll continue, like this seventh pinnacle will never be complete for us to master or reach that mastery with the eighth in this system. It inherently keeps us separate from us, from the self, and from what we personally desire. It keeps us blind and like feeling around in the dark. It's like the blind leading the blind. That's kind of sort of a lot of Hierophant-ish energies, but the more cruel Hierophant energies aren't. The more cruel Hierophant energies are like intentionally blinding people and leading them with what will keep them bound. That energy is gone as far as it can go. So, ooh, insert the headache. Yes, head hurts. This goes back to the reading I did. It was Minos. Under the initiate is death, is the Reaper. That's the change. This is when Aziraphale was with the Angel of Storms. This is everything falling apart. This is, oh my gosh, why is this happening? And it's happening because the laws are being rewritten. I also like the outdated leading the blind. Exactly. It's like maybe that worked in a previous world where we weren't where we are now. And I guess that goes back to what you were saying with the traditional meetings and how they've evolved and changed over time. And how, what they used to mean when, we weren't as technologically or scientifically, or maybe even in some cases spiritually as advanced as we are today. When our understanding was more limited, there were other ways of doing things because of that limited understanding. But now it's different. Who's next? Who's next? The Empress, the Moon, and the Tower just came out together. That's interesting. Oh. This is really interesting. Was that Minos? That was Minos. That was the old throne. So the Seeker below the Two of Pentacles. That makes sense. The Seeker is in between these two. I think I'm actually going to find the Seeker last. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull for these now. So the card that came out after the Keeper is the Lovers. And look. I've seen this before. The echoing, the mirroring of energy between that last pentacle being separate from the other ones, between the Eight of Pentacles and the Lovers. I've seen that before recently. But on top of that was the Angel. The Angel was the nature of the king that came before. It's in that Minos reading. Death was the sacrifice. The first sacrifice, I remembered after I did the reading, the first sacrifice was about like when Minos required that 7 boys and 7 girls be sacrificed to the Minotaur. The second sacrifice is what, like when Minos prayed to Neptune or Poseidon, and he was given the white calf, and then he was told to sacrifice it, but he didn't want to sacrifice the white calf. And so that's what led to the whole creation of the creature that ended up locked in the labyrinth, because he didn't want to sacrifice basically what he promised he would sacrifice before. Something about this was always meant to come to an end. And that's the problem with modern day Hierophant energy. The Hierophant is a tool, it's an access point, it's someone who gets you to the position where you can go further within yourself. That's why the Hierophant precedes the Hermit. But a lot of Hierophants don't want to let go of that. This was the sacrifice that Minos didn't make, which led to the creation of the Minotaur. This was the nature of the throne that Minos inherited when the previous king had died. This was also the nature of the divine lineage of Rhadamanthus, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was Rhadamanthus. And then Minos and Rhadamanthus were brothers. But, Minos took the throne and kicked Rhadamanthus out. And like, again, it's the divine that's sort of like doing that. And it's like, repeat after me, balance. That's what we're in the position of learning right now. Whatever this temperance is, we're learning it so we can come into the position where we make different choices, decisions, where we align to different things. And that's, again, that's that pentacle of mastery that we reach after we complete the 7th. But As long as we don't make this transformation, we'll forever be trapped. And it feels like there are some energies trying to do a lot of things to get you to realize how not great things were. And it's like, it's not great. Why would you want to go back? People being people. So I'm going to put these under here. The Page of Cups and the Two of Pentacles. Spirit is dropping you like little subtle hints, maybe trying to get you to navigate this like new world, old world balance, to make more new world choices, less old world choices, and to grow. Page of Cups. It's the messenger from that realm. And the ruler of that realm is the Archangel of Healing. The angel Temperance is also a healing, alchemizing energy. So in this deck, I'm going to go looking for the Lovers in the darker one. Bottom of the deck is the Conqueror of Coins. I'll give it a few shuffles. I'm going to read both sides. I guess I'll do the angel last. I'm going to read both sides. I'll read the angel, and then I'll look for the seeker that's caught in between, right? So we sort of know what the extremes are here. Oh, goodness. Ooh. My head is fine. Okay, last one. So, going looking for the Lovers. So, I'm going to do this how I said I would do it. It'll be leading up to the Lovers, it'll be the challenge, the ledge, the Lovers. No, it'll be the dog, the challenge, the ledge, the Lovers. The ledge is closer to the new, the dog is closer to the old. The challenge is in the middle. It's that Two of Pentacles. Which do I do? Do I take the leap or do I not? Because I'm not a bird. I can't fly. I don't want to die. But what does a dog know? Sorry. No offense to dogs anywhere. Dogs are actually pretty smart. I take it back. Bottom of the deck, Ruler of Wands and the Hierophant. The Hierophant with the Eight of Swords. Literally right there at the bottom of the deck. And this is the darker one. This is like pure unadulterated spirit. Whether we get it fully or not, this is the intention. The lighter one is the result. The Hierophant is trapping you. Hierophant, Eight of Swords. It's right there. And then the Chariot is after that Eight of Swords. Like, move the F away from that, please. Or don't. It's your choice. I am not one to try to limit your, what's that word? Autonomy, your ability to make your own choices. At the end of the day, we all do what we want. Oh, the Lovers are right here. Okay. So, this is the ledge. This is the challenge. This is the dog. The Hierophant is the dog. The Hierophant is literally the dog. That's what I said. I'm sorry. I'm a little hype. And then I'm not going to look at it. The card after the Lovers, I'm going to turn face down because that's what lies on the other side of the leaf. We don't know, right? Oh, look, there's Temperance. So Temperance lies beyond the leap. Again, that's the angel, number 14, Temperance. Oh, girl, what is this? And how long am I going to be live for? It's fine. There are things that I really need to stop procrastinating on today, though. So I'll get to them. I guess I'll timestamp when I actually read these. So I'm going to save these until after I get the other one. See, like, I'll tell y'all what these are. Hold up. There we go. So it was like this. Okay. Try not to get it mixed up. So the ledge, the thing that you're standing at the cusp of before you leap, it's the Nine of Cups. The fulfillment of all of your desires. The challenge is the Ten of Swords. Literally letting it go, letting it die. Letting things die was something that came out yesterday. Also, we have death over there. Death is major arcana. With this minor arcana death, oh gosh. With this minor arcana death, this is something that we do. This is something that we choose. Major arcana death, it's going to happen regardless. Minor arcana death, that's something that we have to take the initiative on and actually transform. And the dog that's trying to get you to go back is literally the Hierophant. Hierophant's trying to keep you stuck in the Eight of Swords. Ten of Swords is like, nah, we ain't doing that no more. Literally taking the Nine of Cups. I'm gonna take the lead. We'll see what this mystery card is, though. That ties back to the free will versus divinity versus natural law theme a few readings back. Exactly. And that's where it gets a little like, I believe that if we alchemize them, it works beautifully to our advantage. Okay. So in this deck, I'm going to do the same thing, but around the death card, because that's the significator that came out behind the initiate. So it's like all we can see is the change. All we can see is things falling. All we can see is the decay. What we don't necessarily see is the rebirth, is the transformation, is the dream-like almost reality that awaits us if we let things go, if we allow the transformation process to happen, and if we kind of sort of give to it a little bit, honestly. With the Ten of Swords being, the challenge, but the Nine of Cups being the ledge. This is like cohesive. This is cohesive, I believe. I'm liking this. Also, I had a little moment where I was like, ooh, a little woozy. I'm just like, girl. See, that's why sometimes, like, if my head starts to hurt before, or like while I'm pulling cards, I'm like, not today. Like, I'll do it, but I just got to prepare myself. We'll be filming episode 3, or recording episode 3 tonight. I'm excited for that. I already know what tea I'm going to drink. I'm going to go for the strawberry hibiscus because I'm feeling. No, I'm going to go for the matcha green tea. Maybe I'll do matcha green tea and strawberry hibiscus. The Four of Swords came out. The Four of Swords is interesting. The Four of Swords is an energy of rest. It's an energy of recuperation. This Four of Swords can be waiting until the storm blows over, which is fine. Because at the end of the day, if like you're not here, then you can't do anything else. So take care of yourself. But this energy can miss out on the things that we need to do in the moment. The clock doesn't start until we make a decision. This is indecision, Two of Swords. This is also an indecision, Two of Swords. The bone is the wisdom to know that until we press play, things are going to be on pause. Bottom of the deck is the Ace of Wands. It's like we just got to fuel up. We just got everything we need to actually do something. It's like, have you endured enough of the tower that you are now finally ready to head for the star? Please say yes. Okay. Two more. Cut. Let's go. First card out, the Wheel of Fortune. That's that Wheel of Life energy. Oh gosh, there it is again. So are we tipping towards the hunt? Are we tipping towards the warrior? And I think the thing between the hunt and the warrior also. Oh! I had this conversation. Somebody was like, I used to be able to pick on people's insecurities, and I was in a not great position in my life. So I would make people feel worse about the things that I knew they were really insecure about. But now I can like flip that on its head and I can support people in ways that they really need it. That's what this Wheel of Life is. But it's almost like without that period of darkness, we wouldn't have fully discovered that power, that gift, that ability that we have. Although it may have been or it was misused in the past, there's a way to turn it into a blessing. There's a way to to do this. And that's why we can't stay in the Nine of Swords. That's why it's important that we understand what we've done, but that we don't stay there. Because we can alchemize that with Temperance at the bottom of the other deck. We can alchemize that shadow into an ability of light. We can use that to actually pull people out of shadow. Wheel of Life and the Anchor, which is an Emperor energy, and the Eight of Wands. Maybe I should have done it the other way. Well, then the Tower is right there. Maybe I should have done it the other way, because it's the dark deck. That's what we don't see. Okay, anyway, it's just the bottom of the deck. We'll see. We'll see. But again, it's not necessarily an opposing energy. This deck is what we sort of see, what we can sort of predict, what we think. The other one is closer to like what it may actually be, or it's closer to the intention rather than how it plays out, right? Because there are a lot of in betweens the idea and the execution. But it's like we know that, if we come into a position of the Emperor, if we take charge in our own lives, it has the ability to shift things. We may not necessarily know what's required to put us in that position, right? Here's the Tower. I mean, that Ten of Swords with the shadow side, we already know. Anyway, going into it. I'm looking for death. Okay. Let's see how far down the rabbit hole I get to go. Oh, it's right here. Okay, I cheated. I accidentally looked after, but that's fine. It's the light deck, right? We can already see it happening. It's not cheating. So the this is interesting. It's scorpionic energy, which is even more interesting. The ledge is the ruler of cups, king of cups energy. The challenge is the chariot. And then the dog is the ruler of wands. That's why Muriel is here. The challenge is the ruler of wands. That's literally. Did that start in Iacus or did that start before Iacus? It literally came out again in Minos. Because it was the mother of wands in reverse. And we're supposed to be a mother of cups upright. The ledge is the king of cups. The dog is the king of wands. It's about caring about people more than just ourselves, which is surprisingly difficult to do. Let me stop. I stop. And then the card after, which I've already seen, is this one. So I think this is how I did it. Okay. And then oh my gosh, the Nine of Cups is right here. So beyond the ledge, on the other side, we had Temperance beyond. This side, we have the Nine of Cups. And I know what lies on the other side of this, but beyond that, it's the Nine of Cups. I'll just tell you, it's the Five of Coins. It's the Five of Pentacles. This is what we see, but beyond that lies the Nine of Cups. It's time to make a decision. And then, well, here's the devil over here. So I think, we can give that up and go for the Nine of Cups. I personally am making that decision and choice in my life. I encourage you to make whatever choices and decisions that you feel you need to make. But I would hope that you act more out of hope and faith and belief rather than fear, worry, and anxiety. And, ooh, that sounds like it's going to be a lot of work, so I'd rather be miserable. I've been there, so no judgment. I've been in the position of, ooh, that sounds like it's going to be a lot of work, or I'm really scared of that, so I think I'll just stay miserable. I was there, honestly, for most of my life. That's why I'm not going back. I've experienced that. I'm ready to continue experiencing things that I actually like. So, timestamp. Okay. The angels, I say the fools, the initiate, initiate and keeper, a seeker, and then I'll do the keeper. Oh, it is keeper. Darn it. I said keeper, but I wrote seeker. Keeper, then the seeker, and then the wrap up. Okay. Nice. SEEKER. I don't know why I wanted to do SEAK, like search. I guess that makes sense. So I'll say 11010. So we're going to start with the initiate side of things. And I've said most of the cards already, but that's why I put the timestamp here because we do it. So I'm actually going to kind of sort of integrate these, right? And we'll start with the challenge. So let me lay these out in a way that I will not get them mixed up. Oh, the challenge. That's funny. Big T went home. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, yeah, this fits. Because now the mystery cards are on top of the seeker. I wish I had more space, but it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to move these up here like that so I can do this. Oh, wow, I just mixed it up. I'm actually going to keep it that way. 9 of Cups was the ledge, as well as the ruler of Cups. The ruler of Cups was the ledge here. The challenge here was the 10 of Swords. The challenge here was the Chariot. And then the dog here was the Hierophant, and the dog here is the ruler of Wands. This is basically everything that I've already said. So I'm not going to spend too much time here. So if you jump to this timestamp, sorry. Go back. Oh, I should timestamp the part where I was. Maybe I'll go back and find it, and I'll do the Mars through the Zodiac. And that's just one interpretation of Mars through the Zodiac, right? Take it as it resonates. It's free to be whatever. That's one of the many, many, many paths of the warrior archetype, the fighter archetype, and the villain turned hero sort of story. Villain turned hero story. Everything is subjective, right? So the dogs here, it's the ruler of wands and the Hierophant. This is us. The ruler of wands, but it's like the thing about the dog is that like you trust it because it's loyal. And so it's like a lot of us trusted a lot of Hierophant systems. Hierophant systems can be religious or spiritual. They could be political or governmental. They could be societal. Hierophant systems could also be like social, right? Like certain things that ways that we sort of generalize things in people. Generalizations kind of sort of Hierophant. Also can kind of sort of be. Oh, well, that's why Sagittarius has a Hierophant flavor for me. And then with the ruler of wands, it's acting in self-interest. It's no care, no worry, no concern, no consideration for anyone else. But again, like both of these things we think will benefit us, but they don't. This is also where we formed the habit. This is where we formed that bond of trust, right? We trust the dog because Hierophants have conditioned us to believe that dogs are pure animals with pure intentions and big hearts and they just love you. Some dogs can have ulterior motives. It's not about dogs, okay? It's a metaphor. This is like, it's for me, it's for my family, it's for my this, it's for, but it's very self-serving and almost exclusionary. This energy, both of these energies aren't compatible with what lies beyond the cliff. That's why they're trying to pull you back away from it. The challenge here, the issue at hand, the decision, it's either between it's the 10 of swords and the Chariot. Ten of Swords is you going inside of yourself. You going inside of yourself with the Hierophant into the Ten of Swords. And it's all of that root work, like your root chakra, your fundamental beliefs, fundamental ideals, and how those fundamentals build out into your view of the present and extend out into your still yet to be determined future. But it's time to go down there and it's time to weed out the things that no longer serve you in a subconscious way. That's one of the reasons why things are falling apart. It's to get us to see how limited they are. And honestly, it's like with the events of 2020, the world is so interconnected. Hierophant flavor, is that like licorice? If I had to pick a flavor. The Hierophant it's just like when I look at the shadow of the Hierophant, the shadow of the Hierophant to me can read Taurus through like not wanting to get out of your comfort zone. But the shadow side of Hierophant energy to me reads more as Sagittarius. That's why I said it has a Hierophant flavor. Uh oh yeah, for you it could be licorice. For me, I don't know. That's this here. That's like it's not raining for no reason. That's yeah. It's like with us being as advanced as we are, with global travel being as easy as it is, we get things, products, items from all over the country, people from all over the world. People travel all over the world, and diseases happen. So at the time that we're making it easier and easier and easier to get around the world, should we have been thinking of, like the spread of things that may not necessarily be that great because it's that easy? Probably, yeah. Honestly, yes. It shouldn't have been as much of a surprise as it is. If something breaks out in one place and there's nothing keeping it contained anymore, if the barriers to expansion have drastically reduced, it's going to happen. And so in a way, again, it's showing us not only that some systems in place now they've reached well beyond their intended or their ability, their shelf life. They've reached their shelf life. It's been expired for years now, but we're still eating it, popping it like it's old ibuprofen. But we don't know if this medicine is still good for us. Turns out, in some ways, it kind of sort of wasn't. It was killing us. Also, there are things that we weren't even necessarily aware of, things that we weren't even necessarily thinking about. There were things that were happening that maybe we didn't even necessarily think were actually happening. Maybe we thought that there was some hyperbole or some over exaggeration. Everything happened. It gives us the ability to see it. I'm not going to say it happened to get us to see it, but I feel a lot more comfortable saying it gave us the ability to see it. And at the very least, I'd rather us decide to do something going forward. Let's utilize that rain to water crops, to store it and or utilize the element of water in like a hydroelectric dam, right? We're converting kinetic energy to electrical energy. There's a conversion of energies here and a convergence of energies too. One energy is being converged into a reality, other energies are being converged into the past. And then while those convergences are happening, it's making the future even less defined. That's why Neptune is there right now, because it's like, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Like spiritual preservatives, not so good for us anymore. Exactly. Exactly. You get me, or we get each other. So up here, it's the ruler of wands into the chariot. Honestly, it's just like being less selfish, being more selfless. It's an energy of beginning to understand the implications and the ramifications of your actions. That's what this is. Also, there's an opportunity here to go into more of an energy of collaboration rather than competition. And so it's opening up new paths, new ways, new avenues of us getting what it is that we desire in ways that are probably ways that can be quicker, ways that are less detrimental to others, and ways that are more sort of fulfilling for the self. It's the chariot, right? It's not the Six of Swords, it's the whole gosh darn chariot, which could be difficult because the challenge on the other side is the Ten of Swords. Again, on the other side, it's minor death. On this side, it's major movement. Minor death gets you major movement. Minor death for us is major because major death happens. Minor death, we have to encourage. So it's more difficult than things just happening, right? But again, that major movement is a lot more than just the Six of Swords. It's like if Six of Swords is down the street, then the chariot is anywhere in the universe, even in different dimensions, right? You could be in the same time space, but in a different dimension. I don't know. The ledge here is the Nine of Cups. This is coming into the viewpoint, coming into the perspective, coming into the alignment that things transpired in a way to bring you closer to what you desire, to bring humanity closer to a lot of the great and grand wishes that we've been making that we've never really been able to fully see a path towards. Like world peace is great, but have you seen the world? How do we get there? Ending world hunger is great, but have you seen the world? How do we feed everybody? And again, through this energy of not acting in self interest so much, through an energy of collaboration, because the ledge here is the King of Cups. This is the collaboration, this is the communal effort. Not only is that working with people, it's also working with spirit. It's the element of connection. This is the element of self. Now, the thing about the chariot being in the middle instead of the wheel of fortune is that we need both of them to proceed forward. The chariot aligns the light and the dark. The chariot finds a common ground. The chariot harmonizes two often opposing energies. Oh, that's what I was talking about with the like, it's that the coupling energy where there's like something that spins energy and there's something that releases energy. And so if you pair the one that spins energy with the one that releases energy together, it basically powers itself. That's the chariot. We need to take both of these and move it forward, right? It's not to be so selfless to the point that you don't have any, like that you're starving, that you're without, that you're not happy, that you're not fulfilled because you're doing so much for other people. But it's not to be so self focused that you are severely negatively impacting others, or not to be so focused that you don't self focus that you don't see the option that will bring everyone more joy and peace, right? Because now that Mars is up in Scorpio, it's about more communal efforts. When Mars was in Taurus, it was about how can I make myself more comfortable. And again, it's not necessarily that one is bad and the other is good. The chariot, for certainly, is saying we need to find a balance between these two to move forward with a swiftness, right? Here, however, the challenge here is the Ten of Swords. This is minor death. The challenge here is not how can we do both of these. The challenge here is like, how do we let go of shadowy, hierophant energy to claim our heart's desires? Because this energy, it isn't built to give us this. If we have this, we don't need this. Now, that's not necessarily a religious or a spiritual hierophant. That's a lot of like entertainment industries and other things, right? If we're not desiring anything outside of ourselves, then that's a lot less that we're buying. And that doesn't necessarily support, a lot of the systems right now. Being self-confident, being unique, being authentically you, being able to be vulnerable, having a voice, being in your power, it doesn't serve a lot of systems. That's why here the challenge is the Ten of Swords rather than like the Three of Pentacles or the Six of Pentacles or the Three of Cups. Rather than like a joint energy, it's a separating energy here. So while we're separating here, we're finding a way to join things in a more day-to-day sort of way, right? And so I don't know what this card is. Interestingly enough, though, these cards have flipped. But because these cards flipped, death is now down here with minor death. So minor death leads into major death. You doing the things that you need to do within you, being a hub, it's like a spider web, or it echoes out. It echoes out. It's like a ripple in a pond. That alignment, that readjustment, that realignment, it expands out, right? And so the minor death that you do within you causes like a major arcana death, because it's the expansion of your impact to the point that like now lots of things are changing. Now there's someone who's actually in a position to do something, who it's like your ripple, as slow as it may be or as slow as it may seem, it finally reaches someone or those in a position to actually make change, and boom, there's the major arcana death. There's the putting away of the Hierophant. There's the coming into the new world, age of Aquarius, and all of that stuff, right? So it's about the self and the collective. And again, that is this energy up here. I love this. I love that I accidentally put these in the wrong position. Us and the collective, Chariot, figuring out how we can work both, how we can bring fulfillment to everybody. Now the Lovers is up here. So that minor arcana death leads to major arcana death. This alignment within yourself leads to major alignment outside of you. Now, again, this is a major arcana. So and it's two kings, right? Getting two kings to agree on something isn't necessarily easy. Ain't nobody necessarily say it was going to be easy. That's this energy, and it leads to the Lovers now, rather than that sort of death being in here. And see, and that's that very Neptunian, almost like twisted, like you may not necessarily sort of see how this plays out. You may not necessarily see how what you're being asked to do, as challenging as it is, will benefit you. You just have to trust that the divine isn't going to lead you astray. You also have to trust that the divine is not going to bring you a challenge that you can't rise to the occasion of. And you also have to trust that I lost it. You have to trust that things are more or less happening for your benefit. You have to trust that you can handle things and you can rise to the occasion. And I don't remember what the last one is. I literally had it in my brain and then it slipped out. Mercury in Pisces, 12th house retrograde. That train just completely disappeared right off the tracks. And so what lies beyond? Oh, look, here's the Three of Cups. Here's the Three of Cups. So we have the Three of Cups now where we used to have the Hierophant. I'm going to choose not to read this as we're moving from grand establishments to a tribal system. I'm going to choose to interpret this as we're coming into an interpretation of Hierophant energy that serves communities, that understands that the needs, the challenges, and the desires of different communities are different. And so it takes a more personalized approach to them rather than a more generalized approach. Because if the approach is too generalized, you run the risk of it not satisfying some people. And then even still, you run the risk of it not satisfying anyone because it's a too generalized approach. Also, here is it's an inherent, like I think that's why some of this self work is important, because there may be someone who needs something that you don't need. And it isn't necessarily, this was my challenge growing up. I had this conversation with my mom on the porch like a year ago. You can't look at what someone else is getting and then go like, oh, I'm not getting that. I'm not getting it. It's not fair. Well, like, this isn't something that you need. The things that you need, you get. Their needs are different, so they get something different. That's the approach that we're moving to. It's a more understanding. I don't think that the like greater systems are necessarily going to go away, but I think we can restructure and reorganize systems in a way where it actually serves communities and serves peoples and then individuals, and not in some like trickle down type of way, right? It's almost like it's starting at the individual level, the people's level, the community level, and then going up, instead of it like, oh, it'll work its way down, because we saw how much that didn't work the first time. Yeah, exactly. And so here we have the Five of Pentacles, which lies beyond. I love the Five of Pentacles in this deck. This is an energy of giving, especially paired with this energy. And there are third eyes. There are third eyes on these hands. And look, the wisdom, the key, the love, the abundance, the community through the roots. This Five of Pentacles is that understanding that it's almost like it's an anti Four of Pentacles energy. The Four of Pentacles is like reserved. This Five of Pentacles is releasing. The fear here is the reason why we're leaving Hierophant energy is because current and old Hierophant energy will tell you that if you give freely like this, you're not going to have anything. You're going to struggle. You're going to do whatever. It keeps you in that King of Wands energy, that ruler of Wands energy. But when you align your ruler of Wands energy and your ruler of Cups energy, and you come into this Three of Cups again, of understanding like different people have different needs, I can give this and I'll receive something else. I don't have to hold on to everything. It's freely giving, and it matches this energy. One second. Who did leave a message after the tone? I think I know who you are, and I got you. I didn't forget. Yeah. So that's all of that. My ears are burning low key. They've been burning for a minute now. I don't know what that means yet. People say that when your ears are burning, someone's talking about you, right? Or whatever. So now we're going to get into the Seeker, and I'm going to say this is like, well, I'll timestamp it when I start to read it. So here we are at the Two of Pentacles, navigating this upper world, middle world, lower world transition and aligning change between those, right? So now we're going to look for the Seeker. Oh, the Seeker is right here. Okay. So the ledge of the Seeker, New World Order. This is the new laws that are coming from Mount Sinai. New World Order. It's the world card. It's the completion of the old cycle that didn't really serve anyone, or it didn't really serve anyone, honestly. You could read it as coming out of the age of Pisces more fully, coming into the age of Aquarius more fully. Oh, I'm actually reading this different, but I think I'll just read it this way. So I will timestamp it like this. I'll say 133. But I'll do 133.30 because it's going to take me a minute. 33.30. So instead of pulling both decks, I'm just going to use this one to read the Seeker. So the challenge, or the ledge, is New World Order. Just like the ledge was the Nine of Cups, everything that you want, and the other ledge was the King of Cups, an emotional connectivity, rather than that King of Wands. Oh, you're just trying to use me. And instead of people using people to get what they want, King of Cups is people caring about people. And again, Three of Cups, we're all growing and booming, right? So this again is the, oh, here's the Seeker if you want to see it. Oh, I cheated. Ah! I love how this came together. Here's the Seeker if you want to see it. I really, really love this. Here's the ledge. The challenge is the Knight of Cups. The challenge is sort of evolving. The challenge is opening our hearts. The challenge is being more understanding. The challenge is connecting deeper to ourselves, to others, to spirit, and mobilizing that deepening connection, moving forward with that deepening connection, appearing in the world in a certain way where it makes it more apparent that something within us has changed. Because it's that again, that's the ripple. That's what spreads out to other people and what creates more finally that change, that which makes easier that change. That's our challenge right now. The dog is apocalypse, judgment. For me personally, the dog was literally judgment. And I've never really viewed myself as a judgmental person. I've tried hard to not be judgmental, but from this new place, I'm like, wow. Like, I would have seen that. I would have heard that. I would have experienced that and felt a certain type of way about it. But now I don't. I just don't. And honestly, personally, it's a much better life. And it led to me staying for from Monday to the following Wednesday, like 9 days, 8 to 9 days with someone that at the most I could spend 4 to 5 with without fighting and arguing. And we didn't have anything close to an argument. And a year ago, the narrative was like, when I was upset, the narrative was like, oh, I've carried this friendship on for like longer than blah, 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 whatever. A year later, it's like, no, like, honestly, I could have chilled out. Like, was I justified in some of the things? Yeah, sure. Does it matter? Not really. This, I think, more globally, it's literally 2020. And look at this sequence of events. The Knight of Cups is looking at apocalypse and turning its head away from New World Order. And then the card that lies like over the cliff, it's the warrior, the sun. It's literally the sun. And this is for the seeker. This is that in between, right? And so we keep pushing closer towards the sun. We keep pushing closer towards reform, new world order, operating in a different way, lessening the conditionality of your love. We keep moving in that direction rather than one that's rooted in like, honestly, that apocalypse judgment, it feels like a feasibility, or it feels like old narratives, it feels like old stories, it feels like an old viewpoint. It feels like, oh my gosh, this is the end of the world instead of this is the beginning of a new world. How many times did Sandalphon, Angel of New Life, make an appearance? Right. It's new life, but for to claim new life, a life has to end. This Knight of Cups is stuck between the two. But the sun will guide you to your personal power with it being embodied through the archetype of the warrior. Through the archetype of the warrior, literally talking about Mars's journey through the zodiac from Aries to Pisces. And it's like, oh, you think the divine forgot about you? You thought the world was ending? Ha, April Fools, it's a new beginning. I almost said dummy, but the it's a joke, okay? It's said lightheartedly. It's a new beginning, young one. That's what endings are, right? So, finally, after all of this, we see who the angel is. Oh, if it's Sandalphon, I'll literally flip. Who is it? Who are you? So it's not Sandalphon, which makes sense. Sandalphon is more of like a major arcana type of energy. This is a more minor arcana spread because this is the Fool. This is us needing to do something. This is us needing to take the risk. This is us needing to take the leap to claim something new. The angel that came out is Zachariel, angel of memory. It's about letting go of one story and positioning yourself to write a new one. Letting go of old memories, letting go. And for me, again, it was like the decisions that I made in those moments made sense. The things that I did justified 100%. But from the position where I am, where I'm trying to come into my Aksunare, my like new dawn, rather than these dark nights, it doesn't gel with the energy that I'm coming into. And honestly, I don't need it anymore. It's also interesting that temperance came up as much as it did, because it mentions like to pour into the cup of new memories, we have to empty the cup of old ones. I'll read it. But accompanying the angel of memory is this card. What's the back? Hold up, wait, no. No, right? Wait. Maybe? It's the back of it though. Maybe it's actually a different position. This is the back of the card. The other one that looks like this came out yesterday, but today it came out, it was this way. And I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna read this. Like, what is that? It low key, like if it was like this, it would almost remind me of like a snow globe or a prison, but it's upside down. It almost reminds me of a bridge. There's a little bit of a Ariadne from I just talked about Ariadne in the Minos reading. There's a little bit of Ariadne from Inception and how Leonardo DiCaprio hired her to craft the dream worlds, right? It's a little bit of that energy. Followed by Cacabiel, angel of stars, and Muriel, angel of Cancer. Mars in Cancer, the warrior in Cancer, is where the heart is open enough. Like at first, the mind, yeah, right? At first, the mind changes. At first, it's the shocking realization. Mars and Gemini, Nine of Swords. But then it's like that opening of the heart. It's felt in Cancer, which is not great. But because it's felt in Cancer, it puts Mars in a position from Leo and Virgo into Libra to do something. Right? April showers bring May flowers. And it's April Fools. You thought it was raining to cancel your parade. Psych, LOL. It has to rain if you want flowers later. And you love flowers in spring, so it's going to have to rain at some point. Right? Oh! I took a picture the other day that almost it was between the pear tree blossoms. The pear trees blossomed, and we took pictures in the trees. And you see, like starting to blossom here. That is Muriel, right? Yeah, that's Muriel, angel of Cancer. This is Cacabiel or Cocabiel, angel of stars. And it's interesting that the angel of stars card is so light. You would think that the angel of stars card would be in the darkness, but it would be like the shining light or something like that. But in an Aquarian energy, it's an energy of constellations, not individual stars. It's a network of them. It's a network of stars. Like the North Star is connected to a constellation. The Big Dipper, right? I think it's Ursula Major. I think my astronomy is rusty. So I'll read Zachariel first in the book. Sandalphon would have been funny, but also Sandalphon made enough appearances in this video, and Zachariel is much more appropriate. And Hierophant energy, and even the King of Wine, like the dog will play on Zachriel. It'll play on your memories of the past. Remember when this didn't work out before? Why would you try the same thing? They say that doing the same thing over and over and over is the definition of insanity. Do you want to be labeled insane? Like you've always failed. But at the same time, that same voice will convince you to do other things that you've constantly done, that you've consistently done. But the circumstances have changed, both within you and outside of you. Going back to circumstances, it's all a matter of circumstance. Sometimes we can change our internal circumstances so significantly that it doesn't matter what the state of the external is. That's when you reach the master manifester sort of level, kind of, I guess, right? Again, take it as it resonates. I'm just a dude pulling some ink and paper in my childhood room. But I no longer curse my path. I embrace it because it puts me in a position to do things, to know things that otherwise I wouldn't have. And I like me. I like who I've become. So, wouldn't have happened without a lot of that. Zachriel, here we go. Zachriel, Angel of Memory. Eternally lost, Zachriel carelessly winds and unwinds the threads of thought. Memory has no worries or concerns. You are safe to wrap yourself in the bands of time gone by as well. It is warm and safe within the fog of Zachriel. All you knew greets you, welcomes you, longs for you. The power of remembrance is balanced by the power of forgetfulness. Pouring memory into the cup of forgetfulness makes room for new memory. Zachriel is the angel of all memory, even memory lost. If you take something with you, you must also leave something behind. Again, see this entire reading. Zachriel was perfect. And again, that was the energy here, where it's like the angel is trying to teach you how to pour. That's what you're mastering right now. Don't take the easy way out. Also, the angel, remember, because the Hierophant was keeping us in the state of the Eight of Swords. That's literally the same person. The angel in this deck is literally the freed Eight of Swords. It's the freed captor. The Hierophant keeps the angels captive. It dictates what those energies are, and it dictates how you connect to them. It dictates what they can do for you. It dictates what they can't do for you. It formalizes the process. But in this deck, especially, the Hierophant is a call to get to know these energies for yourself. You have the capabilities within you. Graduate from the Hierophant, make it to the Hermit, and then the Hanged Man. Go through a few towers, see some stars. Be led by moonlight closer and closer and closer to the source of your power, to the well of you, that is this warrior. Make it through the judgment call and claim that new world order. You don't have to live life the way that you've lived it up until this point. Right? It's your choice, though. It's always your choice. And so let's look at Cacabiel and Muriel in this Ariadne weaving of a dream world. Maybe Neptune has given us that ability a little bit. But it's like, Neptune, girl, like, we barely understand, like, when you talking. Now we're supposed to do this. That's why the Eight of Pentacles is here. So, Cacabiel, Angel of Stars. Ooh, if I hold it up like this, you would see it and I could read it, right? I got to get closer, though. Oh, there you go. The silent field of swaying grass waved at the ocean above. The giants marched past us by the thousand. By the thousand, and many more, infinite upon infinite. They don't look back. We stare on. When are we gonna move? That's why the chariot is here as the challenge. When are we gonna move? The stars don't look back. We stare up at them. They mind their own business. They making moves. Thank you, Everlong Mystic. Thank you, Eve. I really appreciate this. When Neptune came out with Laws from Mount Sinai, I was like, what is this gonna be? Muriel, Angel of Cancer. Let's see if I can do this one. The face we show on the outside and who we are inside is always different. That shell we build over our hearts exists to gird us against the barbs of the world. As we grow, that shell hardens, but the need to let others past it becomes equally as valuable. The essence of this sign is not only a shield that holds harm at bay, but it is also the warmth that brings life and healing into our lives. Muriel is the protector of our deepest truths and the caregiver of our innermost selves. Perfect. Okay, so what is this? What is this? Is this peanut butter? I literally have no idea where peanut butter would have come from. Like, my little peanut butter jar isn't even open. Do I have peanut butter snacks in here? I don't know where this little random bit of peanut butter came from. I don't even know why I picked it up. I don't know. Dogs like peanut butter, right? Oh, peanut butter is one of the things that you use to trick a dog into taking its medicine. So if you got to use a little peanut butter to get the dog to back off long enough for you to take the leap, or if you have to give yourself peanut butter to take whatever medicine you need to take to make that Ten of Swords and that Chariot energy a little easier to actually follow through with, I don't know what the peanut butter is. I literally don't know where that peanut butter came through. I told y'all Neptune worked like that. But that's what I got. Thank you, E, for being here. It was so fun. This was very interesting. Um, and it's all available now. It's been available for a minute, but it's more and more apparently available. And it's easier and easier for us to take day by day because we want more and more to not be where we were. So, with that, I bid you all adieu. I will see y'all next time I see y'all. I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever you see this. I wish and hope all of the love, light, strength, clarity that you need to navigate through whatever it is that you're navigating through in a way that brings you happiness, that brings you joy, abundance, fulfillment, prosperity, peace of mind, everything that you desire. And I hope that when you need it the most, you find a breath, a moment of reprieve to get your bearings, right? So I'll catch you later. Bye. I'm happy to have you here.